And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Modern Home Economist. Ha, ha, ha. Hey, Ms Denise, how are you?
You know what, Leona? I am doing really well. And I'm really excited about this direction that we're taking. So I'm doing really well, and hopefully, our audience will get a lot out of how we are slowly trying to introduce them to our new system
Mhm.
so that they kind of see what we're trying to do. But I'm doing great. So thank you, thank you,
That's
thank you.
wonderful. Well, for those of you who are out there who are watching, and perhaps you're a little new to our show, we are the Miss. I have Miss Denise of Denise Jordan's Homemaking with Denise. I am Leona Dooley from Ebony Ivy and Thyme, and we have a show that's called the Modern Home Economist, and it is our adventure that we're taking that has been our 2026 program that we are just so excited about.
Yes, we are.
Oh my goodness. And so we're going to be taking a deep dive tonight, and we're going to be talking about. You're going to go, whoa, hold on, because there's going to be so much that we're going to talk about tonight. Now, let me just say, if you look in the comments, if you haven't done that, be sure to do that. We're going to talk about budget meals. We're going to talk a little bit about freezer meals. Now, we're not going to be as heavy on freezer meals tonight because that's going to be our focus in a couple of weeks as well. We're going to talk about a pantry challenge that we're going to offer to you and hope that you'll join us with. We're going to look at not one, but three meal planning systems and that you can choose because, it's nice to be able to have a choice.
Mhm.
And because all of our homes are different, our lifestyles are different. So we are just excited about what we're going to be doing tonight. So welcome to the Modern Home Economist. So, Miss Denise, you know, we are certainly women of, I'm going to say, of a certain age, and we have been married quite a long while.
Mhm.
And, but there are days when things are not as perfect as we'd like for them to be.
Heaven forbid.
I know. And let me give him a claw. Oh, oh la da. So when we think about that, sometimes things kind of fall apart. And when that happens, there are a lot of things that fall apart
Mhm.
and it tumbles. So what happens in your household when you have one of those weeks and you have not had a chance to plan your meals? What do you do?
Well, I'll tell you my go-to answer when I've not had a chance to plan and things are falling apart. I'll be like, babe, can we order Panda Express? And he'll be like, no. And then the Panda Express is not near us. So it's a good 25 to 30-minute drive. Now, for those of you that live in bigger cities than where we live, you're probably thinking 20 or 30 minutes, that's no big deal. Well, in our city, it's a big deal. Where my
Mhm.
daughter lives, 25, 30 minutes is good. But he's like, I am not driving out there tonight. So 25 to 30 minutes away from the house. And, I really don't like doing DoorDash and that kind of thing because I don't want to
Mhm.
pay $15 extra on top of that. So that is one of the things that happens. Or I'm scrambling around trying to figure out, okay, we're not going out to eat. What can I do at the last minute?
Mhm.
And I'm trying to see what can I thaw out in the microwave or
Yeah.
if there's any leftovers in the freezer that I can bring to bear on that particular day's supper. So luckily, I've since learned some things
Mhm.
and things are a little bit better than that.
Oh, thank goodness. It's amazing. I guess, through the holidays, we've all been so busy. And
Mhm.
so I know I had one week when it was like, oh, just toss it all out the window. I had a plan, but the plan got messed up. So
Mhm.
I was just kind of floundering around. Well, I ended up spending more money.
Yes.
I ended up spending more gas.
Mhm.
We talk about the time. Our time was just going out the door, and it just felt like chaos.
Well, and it's also stressful. And see, that's the big thing. It's also stressful. I was thinking about last week. So, like, if you guys missed our show last week, we had a young mom on that's a mom to three busy boys that are at home with her. And then she also has an adult daughter.
Mhm,
But the boys are busy and they're in all kinds of things that boys are into, different
mhm,
basketball practice and this kind of practice. And, all the kind of things moms do,
mhm,
driving around for whatever. And then plans get canceled. And she talked about how she would have a plan and then the plan would get upset and how that would throw her off track.
mhm,
And I think that that happens in real life. I mean, that is real life. But luckily now, when real life happens to throw me off track like that,
mhm,
I might have something in the freezer that I can pull out to help.
mhm,
So I'm not talking about freezer meals per se, but for example, I made a huge pot of soup
mhm,
and much too much for us to be able to eat in 2 or 3 days, unless we want to eat soup for lunch and dinner for the next 4 days. So
mhm.
I would automatically put some of that soup into a freezer dish and just pop that in the freezer. So then I can pull that out a few days later or even a couple of weeks later if I
Mhm.
need to. So, like I said, I've learned some things.
Yes, yes. And
I've learned some things.
yeah. And I mean, even after the years that we have been working at this, and I say at this,
Mhm.
we are living through not just food, not just time, not just home, not just money. It's all of it. And all
Yeah,
of it gets affected. And
yeah.
that's something, you really don't realize in the long run. So,
Mhm.
for those of you who are out there in the audience, and I'm so glad to see everyone tonight, um, think about this. Which is hardest for you right now? Handling the food, handling, trying to manage time, trying to manage the home, or trying to manage the money. Which of those is the most difficult for you right now? And with today I opened up an envelope and it was talking about insurance, medical insurance. Oh, oh. And so here we are. We got numbers that have changed. And so
Oh,
when
yeah.
you start to think about that, that's going to take away from a portion of the budget.
Mhm.
So there are going to be a lot of things that I think over the next few weeks that we're really going to have to address and that are going to deal with all of these systems. But tonight, we're going to put this plan together. And I'm hoping that when we're finished, that we're going to be able to leave you with number one, we're going to leave you with a pantry challenge.
Yes.
And, that you can actually finish and feel good about. And you all are going to have some laughs with it as well. I'm going to give you a 3 meal planning system that is very simple to do to keep your
Mhm.
meals going. And we're going to talk about a little short list of some budget meals that can really carry our household. And, in the winter, when the kids are busy, school's in session, homework's kicked in, it's after the holiday, you need some quick meals to be
Yeah.
able to pull it all together. So we're going to be handling that. And as always, remember, we want to do it in baby steps,
Mhm.
and we're not perfect. So we are doing the best we can.
And not only are we doing the best we can, we're doing the best we can with what we have.
Amen.
And
Amen.
because you don't want to feel like you have to rush out to the store every night. So, ladies and gentlemen, get your notebooks out because we got some stuff for you tonight.
Oh yeah. So very quickly, I'm just going to kind of click in and let you see who's here. We've got Laurie Williams who's here.
All right.
We've got, of course, there's
Bless
Denise.
me.
We've got Tamika who's here with us.
Hi,
And I
Tamika.
saw Molly was here bright and early. Hello, hello. We got Sierra. So glad that you're here with us live, and glad to have you. We've got Hazel.
Hey, let me just back you up for a
Uh-huh.
second. Go back to Sierra.
Okay, okay.
She said she had some meal planning and budget wins this past week.
Oh,
So let's give her a big
yay!
hand clap. So good on you, good on you. And Sierra, you'll have to tell us in the chat what your budget wins were. We want to know so that we can share
That's
them.
right.
So thank you for letting us know, but definitely we want to know.
And you know, you never know, Sierra. There may be someone out there who really needs to hear that information because they may be having a challenge and may need to know what you've done. So let's try that. Okay, we've got Judy with us tonight. We've got TJ with us tonight.
Hey,
Glad
TJ.
you're here. So glad you're here. Now, Sierra said she had 3 pounds of chuck roast, made 3 separate dinners. Yay!
Oh,
She had a Mississippi pot roast. She had a beef stroganoff and beef quesadillas.
she's
Oh,
been taking Miss Leona's round 2 and round 3 to heart.
I'm
So way to
telling you,
go,
I'm
Sierra.
telling you, don't you love it when you can just take your protein and make those extra meals? I just love it.
And
Wonderful.
shout out to you, Miss Leona, because people are definitely picking up on the lessons that you and I have been trying to put down. But you have certainly been one to emphasize the round 2, the round 3, etc. So way to go, way to
We
go,
are.
way to go.
Thank you. We're trying. We're hanging in here. We got the Duncan party. She said all of the above. She said just depends on the day. Now, we have Thelma, and she said she's 80 years old in Houston, Texas. And this is the first time that she's gotten to get on live. She says she loves both of our sites, and she said we're full of information for our young mothers. Thelma, thank you so much. We are so glad that you are here with us, and certainly share this information with someone else who you know who may be young and may need a little bit. Well, Kentucky Stephen, I love it because I'm a Kentucky girl from Louisville, Kentucky. And he's asking about our baby, asking about the cat, wants to know if he's feeling better. So we need a health report.
Stephen, we had him at the vet today. He came home yesterday completely beat up. I mean, it looked like he had the heck beat out of him. And he was just like, and so we took him to the vet this morning, and evidently he had been double teamed by several cats. And I guess when we had him in the kitty hotel, when we went away for Christmas, he was away from the cat colony long enough that his odor has changed. So now they see him as an intruder. So whenever he tries to go back to the cat colony to visit for the day, to hang out, they jump on him. And when I say he was so beat up, well, I was talking to Leona about it last night. It was all I could do not to cry. I was just so upset. But so the vet did an eye exam on him. His cornea was not scratched. She was worried about that because the left eye was squinted shut, and she was worried about that. He had scratches all over the top of his head, all over his face, in one ear, down the back of his neck, and his legs. And I guess it's like a show of dominance, or I don't know. But anyway, she gave him an antibiotic. I have some pain medication for the cat because he was all this. So I have pain medication for the cat. And we're keeping him inside. We're just going to have to keep him inside because outside is not a safe place for him anymore. He thinks he can go back to the cat colony, but evidently he can't. So and I'm sorry to put him down on stuff, but
it is so pitiful, and he's so cute.
Yes,
he is so precious. Now, all right, Ms. Denise, we're getting ready to jump in. We're getting ready to dive in tonight. We're going to start talking about our first segment, which is dealing with budget meals. We want to know we're going to share with you the why. And then we're going to give you the how. Sometimes people will give you information and you'll just get a little bit of it. You may not get all of it. And so it leaves you asking a lot of questions. But tonight, remember, we're the home economist. So because of that, we're going to make sure you have it all before you leave tonight. All right. So in talking about our budgeting meals, keep in mind that budget meals are intentional meals. They are meals that you're putting together that you're going to look at what's in your pantries. Notice I said pantries because you have more than one. You have your main pantry that we always all think of our pantry with canned goods and all those good things in there. But don't leave out your refrigerator, your freezer. If you're fortunate enough to have a refrigerator and a freezer out in the garage or somewhere else, you may have food that's in there, as well as you may have a place where you have an even more extended pantry where you have additional food as well. So that gives you opportunities of being able to look at what you have and to cook from what you have.
Exactly.
That's the main thing. And, when I don't plan meals and I just come and say, okay, what we going to cook? And so, that's when I'm going to overspend. I'm going to buy things I don't need. And so I try to stay out of the grocery store as much as possible. So that's our number one thing. So be honest. Those of you who are in the chat, do you meal plan before you shop? And I just want you to give us a yes or a no. Ms. Denise,
well, here's the thing, too. Let me just add to what you just said, Leona. Like you said, budget meals are not struggle meals, but budget meals are based on low-cost foundations, and they prevent random grocery shopping. And as you said, it saves you money. So the things that you can make from your budget definitely helps to save you money. So I'm interested to see what they have to say about whether or not they plan or not.
I am too, because what I'm finding is that with this budget meal formula, and I'm trying to practice it not only for myself because it's something I need to do, but I also want to practice it for you. So when you see our video, a video on Saturday where we're cooking, you're going to see that I've got certain items, particular items that I'm pulling from. So here's what we got. And these are the things, Ms. Denise, you might want to type these in for me.
Okay.
You know what? I think I may have done it. Let me see if I put it in. Well, no.
In the banner?
Just the budget meal form. But I didn't type it out. Okay, so number one is the protein anchor. Now, protein can usually typically is your most expensive part of your meal, especially if you're going to have ground beef, steak, whatever it is that you're going to use. But think about this: protein can be beans, your eggs, can be chicken, can be tuna, can be some kind of fish, can be lentils. So you can go from terribly comfortable and not so expensive to expensive. You have a variety, but every meal needs some type of protein anchor. The second part is the bulk builder. And that's going to be that part of the meal that really gives you the structure. That can be rice, your pasta. It might be potatoes, and that could be the white potatoes, sweet potatoes, whatever kind of potatoes you like. It could be tortillas. It could be bread. It could be bread that you've purchased or bread that you've made, either one. But those are your bulk builders. So you've got your protein anchor, you've got your bulk builder. From there, this is where it's fun. We get into the veggie volume. And the reason for this is because of the fact that with the veggie volume, you're going to be able to add, because the vegetables are far less expensive than your protein. And even to some extent, it's really less expensive. And when you think of calories, we're always thinking of calories as well. This is going to be the low calorie portion of your meal. But it's going to be that part that you want your family to have because it's nutrition. So you've got vegetables, you got fresh vegetables, you got frozen vegetables, you got cabbage, carrots, greens, celery, and the list just goes on, and but that's your veggie volume. So you can decide, do you want only one vegetable,
Mhm.
or you might even want to add two or
Yeah.
more. And I like to do two, if possible. So then your fourth part is the sauce or seasoning portion. And that can be where you're using like your tomatoes, your tomato, some type of broth. It could be a cream of something. It could be soup, or it could be cream of mushroom that you made. It could be a spice blend, but you're looking at the sauces and the seasonings as you're putting these meals together. Now, the nice thing about this is that the formula comes together. It brings that meal together. And that's valuable for us because it's so easy. So you think protein, bulk, veggie. Bam, meal is done. You've got a
Right.
meal ready to go. Then you can use these just like when Sierra was talking about what she had done with her it was a roast, right? Her roast that she had made, and she had all the different types of meals that she had put together off of one roast. And so that gives you an opportunity, whether it's beef, whether it's chicken, whatever it might be, but you can prepare a variety of different meals. And here's the thing, I have a picky person at my house who does not like leftovers, and for the most part, will not eat leftovers in the same week. And so I have I have to be creative. If I want to be able to use that chicken a second time, it's got to taste different and look different. And so it's like, okay, somewhere in here is chicken, but you don't see it. So, but it does. It has to look different. So a lot of our families, we have children who are the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be able to put those together in such a way that you're able to put your meal together each night. Um, that's a nice way also of taking each of these. I take a Sunday and I pull whatever the proteins are going to be for the week, or
Mm-hmm.
protein it will be for the week. And I start to look at what the bulk builder is going to be. So it may be that if you're really on a tight budget, you may opt to say, okay, this is going to be the potato week. And you might have a 5 pound bag of potatoes. Well, honey, there are a lot of things that you can do with those
A
potatoes.
whole lot of things.
Yes. So start thinking then. That's where you start doing your prep work. So you might have some cubed, some sliced, some you may leave whole because you want to bake them. Whatever it is, you got them there and ready to go. If rice is going to be your bulk builder for the week, then prepare the rice you need in advance and have it in the refrigerator ready to go. So those are options. Those are options that you can do so that you're not at the last minute scrambling, trying to put your meal together. So, Miss Denise, what do you think?
Well, I like the fact when you said that when you use the formula, you are inspired, but also the formula gives you not just inspiration, but it gives you a pattern. So
Mm-hmm.
you know that the pattern is going to be protein, bulk builder, veggie volume, and then sauce or some kind of a seasoning, which was number 4, some kind of a sauce, seasoning, but that flavor profile. And I like how Sierra changed the flavor profile on
Mm-hmm.
her meals, or as you always say, round 1, round 2, and then round 3. But
Mm-hmm.
when you have a system that you apply, it takes a lot of the decision making out of it. So you don't experience decision fatigue quite as much. Instead of thinking, oh gosh, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? You have a system that can kind of help guide you along the way. So looking at our formula, you'll shop your freezer shelves and you'll choose your protein anchor unless you've already pulled out all your the meat that you want to use for the week and put them in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll decide on your bulk builder, as you said, and then choose your veggies to round it out with your flavor boosters like your sauces and seasoning. So one example for me is, and you guys have heard it before and before and again and again, but on Sunday, I like to make a roast chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And we usually have mashed potatoes with that roast chicken and gravy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our protein. Gravy is going to be our sauce, our seasoning, our flavor booster. And then mashed potatoes is going to be our bulk builder. And
Mm-hmm.
then some kind of a vegetable. So it could be green beans. We eat a lot of green beans in this
We
house.
do too. We do too.
But every now and then I might decide to take the time to cook some collard greens because since it's Sunday, I can slow it down and take the time to do that. And who knows, there could even be dessert because it's Sunday. Now, during the rest of the week, I'm not thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
If we choose Friday, let's say you pulled ground beef from the freezer or ground turkey or whatever ground meat you pulled out, then you're going to shop your pantry shelves and maybe you see spaghetti or macaroni or beans and rice. And your produce basket has potatoes that need using.
Mm-hmm.
Now you think, okay, so what do I need to work with? Maybe there's buns in your freezer because if I buy buns, hamburger buns, we usually only use 2 or 3. So I put the rest of them in the freezer so they don't go bad. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's buns in the freezer. So I decide maybe we'll have hamburgers with fried potatoes. Or maybe I say, you know what? There aren't any buns. We used them all. So maybe we'll do a cottage pie with that ground beef and those potatoes. I'll make mashed potatoes go on the top. Maybe grab some carrots, celery, peas, and stuff like that from the freezer or whatever. Or maybe beans and tomatoes, because tomatoes are meal makers. So some beans and tomatoes off the pantry and turn that ground beef into chili. So you can do all sorts of things, even come up with making some corn muffins, some cornbread, or something like that from your pantry staples.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With this formula, you can build hundreds of meals, hundreds of meals, and they're so easy. Now, here's the thing. If you have already bags of vegetables in your freezer, then choose from what's in the freezer.
Yes.
Or if you stock your canned goods and you have those, and certainly in the winter, it is good to have a good store, supply of canned goods, whether it's canned vegetables, canned meat, canned fruit, whatever it is, because you never know what the weather is going to be.
Yes.
And where you may not be able to get out. And so if that's the case, then you have food available that you are able to pull a meal together. So I thought of a couple of things. I had, as I was going through and working on the pantry, I found I had 3 cans of lentils. So I decided, okay, well, I started with just plain lentil soup. And then from lentil soup, I wanted to do a round 2 because I made a large pot. And I thought, I think I can change this to a chili, a lentil-based chili, where the lentil really has the mouthfeel of meat, because we're both on vegetables at this point. And so I thought, okay, we can do that. Or you can take this lentil soup and take a portion of it and serve it over rice, depending on what your bulk builder is. If you have egg fried rice, you can put everything in there. You can put tofu in there. You can put fish in there. You can put shrimp in there. You can put chicken in there, beef. And so if you have tuna patties, you could have tuna patties and some type of frozen vegetables. I like tuna patties with potatoes. You see, Ms. Denise? So, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Did you
not see that? I'm sorry.
Scrunched her nose at tuna patties
I'm sorry.
She doesn't eat fish, or doesn't care for fish. We'll put it that way. She doesn't care for fish. Turn her little nose up.
Sorry.
You and Archie cannot be around together when he doesn't want anything. But pasta. Oh my gosh. there's just so much you can do with pasta.
Yes.
And so if you've got tomato sauce in your pantry ready to go, or and some herbs, you can throw some pasta, make a spaghetti sauce. You could certainly do either potato chowder. If you have corn, you can have a potato corn chowder. If
Mhm.
you have some type of seafood, you can even put together a seafood chowder. And so the possibilities are endless. And when you have cabbage, there are numerous things that you can do with a head of cabbage. And
Yes.
so, and of course, let's not leave it out. You can have breakfast for dinner. You know, if you got eggs and some bread, and you can have grilled cheese, you could throw together a tomatoes, some tomato soup real quick.
Mhm.
But that gives you options of things that you can do. So, um, none of these require, if you have a good pantry, none of these require that you have to go to the store.
And even if you have a medium pantry,
Mm-hmm.
it should be helpful. Now, you want to get to the good pantry, but even if you have a medium pantry, you're kind of in the middle of building that, you
Mm-hmm.
can still do a lot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You do not have to have a major pantry to do this. And so it's a matter that as you think, when you're doing your shopping, that's a time to really start thinking about what you're going to build. You
Yes.
want to make sure that you have, if your family likes rice, make sure you have plenty of rice.
Mhm.
You have bags of rice that you can have in store. I
Mhm.
keep mine in the freezer. And I have a few that are here, that I keep in the pantry. But I also have cooked rice that is available as well. And of course, now they have those little packets of rice that you can get.
For
So,
$1.49 or $1.99. And you know what? I used to buy those a lot, and I still do.
mhm, mhm,
Because my husband likes that 90-second rice, and
mhm,
he's not going to cook a whole pot of rice that's going to take 20 minutes, but he
mhm,
will cook that 90-second rice. And he will, if he's having fish for dinner, notice I said he, not we. If he's having fish for dinner, he will often cook one of those 90-second packets of rice to go along with that
mhm,
at $1.59 or $2.29, depending upon
mhm,
what brand and where I'm getting it. But
mhm.
after a severe challenge by Carol from My Blessed Nest and Ms. Leona, I had a rice cooker in the garage for like 5 years, had never opened the box. And I just was kind of afraid to use it. And Carol was like, look, when you come on next week, you better let us know you use that rice cooker. I used that rice cooker and I was like, what was wrong with me?
Mhm,
Because it is so easy to use. You
mhm,
just put the rice in, put in a little butter, put in the salt, add the water,
mhm,
push the button, and it just does its thing. Now, mine
mhm.
is fairly simple. There are more, I guess, elaborate rice cookers,
Elaborate.
but
Mhm,
I will usually make 3 cups of rice now when I
mhm,
do it. And, my husband and I, we don't need 3 cups of rice for one
mhm,
meal. But now I've got rice in the fridge that
mhm,
we can pull out and use for breakfast or for other times of the day or other times of the week. So I've
mhm.
learned to do that. My rice cooker has proved to be such a good bargain.
I can't believe you had it all that time. Oh my
Way to
goodness.
use it.
Yes. Oh my goodness. But I'm glad you're using it now. That's a good
Mhm,
thing. That's a
mhm,
good
mhm.
thing. Now, let's take a look at those freezer meals. And we're going to talk just a tiny bit about freezer meals. Now, today, we're going to approach freezer meals a little bit different from what I will later on. But we're going to look at it from the standpoint that when we're cooking our budget meals, think double.
Yes.
Think double. You want to cook 2 times as much so that you can have some for today
Mhm.
and some to put away.
Yes.
And that gives you a chance to start to build up
Mm.
your freezer so that when you have an evening, And I know Miss Denise had one of those evenings when she was coming in off the holiday,
Yep.
where she came straight in, and it was like, oh my goodness, I'm too tired to go out, to get something. And so what did she do? She went to her freezer.
And pulled something out. And it was so nice to know that I had that in there. So
Mhm.
recently I made a lasagna soup,
Mhm.
and that makes a huge pot. Miss Leona did a lasagna soup not too long ago. So I thought, okay, I got to try it. Makes a huge pot. And we had it probably 3 days in a row.
Mhm.
And so I decided to put, okay, what's left over is going in the freezer for next week. So my
Mhm.
husband was like, we got to eat more of that lasagna soup. I'm like, no, it's in the freezer. Because number one, I had it enough that I was tired of it.
Mhm.
We don't need all this meat and cheese and all this, this many days in a row. But it was nice to say, okay, I'm going to put part of this aside for us. Now, for
Mhm.
TJ's family, she's got 4 children, and her and
Mhm.
hubby, they might eat half the lasagna soup. They might still have some left over, or they may only have enough left over for a few lunches. She might
Mhm.
have enough left over for lunches for the kids, for like lunches for one or two of the kids or something like that. What
Mhm.
you can do if you don't have a whole big pot left over, I've got
Mhm.
some really cute little individual serving dishes that you
Mhm.
could put in the freezer that's got one serving in it. So there are things that you can do with that as well. So I've really been working at using my freezer in that way.
Oh yeah. And I really like it. I think even more so. Now I know some people are proponents of making 30 freezer meals to put in the freezer. And I'm not against that, because I occasionally do that as well. But I like being able to uh, take part of the meal that I have already cooked, so
Mhm.
that all I have to do is walk in and warm it up, and it's ready
Yes.
to go. And that works out well because there is just the two of us.
Mhm.
And if I'm gone to a meeting or whatever, the big guy can come in, he can pull whatever it is out, he can put it into the microwave, and he's ready to eat. And so that works out very well. And so for those who have children, and I know sometimes your schedules are a little off because
Mhm.
of running in and out. That's what we've seen between the two families that we have interviewed over
Mhm.
the past few weeks, that they have busy schedules in the evening. And so when you're coming in at 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock from whatever it is, you don't want to start cooking. You
No.
want to be able to have things that if you didn't get a chance to get it started before you went to whatever the function was, you certainly can pull something out of that freezer and
Mhm.
put it into the microwave, and everybody can eat within at least 15 minutes, and you're ready to go. So that just eases the tension,
Yes.
makes it so much easier. And guess what? It keeps you from spending money and calling DoorDash.
Yes.
So, life happens.
Life does happen.
It happens. We've got people who get sick. And so, guys, let me ask you right now, how many of you could go to your freezer and actually know that you have several things in your freezer that you could take out and just put in the microwave, and dinner's on the table in a few minutes? And if that's the case, let us know in the chat, and even tell us what it is, because it may be that there's someone out there who's thinking, oh, I didn't think about doing that. I didn't think I could do that. Now, so that is a good thing. Now, Miss Denise, I noticed that we've been talking about cleaning out the pantry. And Miss Denise and I had we like I said, we talked quite a bit, and we were talking with each other and saying, oh, the pantry's a mess. And I thought, I really do need to just buckle down and get the pantry clean. But trying to clean the pantry, take down the Christmas decoration,
Ah.
do the stuff I had to do, just normal everyday things like the wash and all those kind of
Mhm.
things. And then had some things for church I had to do. And I was overwhelmed, and I hadn't even started.
Well, here's the thing. You want to try to look at all the things that you have to do and put them on a list. Put them on your list and then think, okay, what is the priority? And then based upon your priority, just take it one step at a time. And when you're looking at pantries, you can be overwhelmed if you try to pull everything out at once because it's just too much. So now
Mhm.
both of us have done videos where we have cleaned or done an inventory on our pantries. And I will admit, it took me 4 days to get mine done because there's no way, especially now, I just don't have the energy to just start working in the fridge, get the refrigerator all cleaned out, and you got to wipe it down and go through all those things, and then go over to my working pantry, which is the one in the kitchen that I'm in and out of all the time, all the
Mhm.
canned goods and whatever, and then get that sorted out, and then go into the dining room and work on my extended pantry or my prepper pantry,
Mhm.
sort all that out, then circle back to the fridge freezer combination, go through those shelves, and then deep freezers. I can't do all that in one day. So if I did, if that would be all I would get done, and I'd be too exhausted to even think about making a meal. So
That's
as
true.
you said earlier, baby steps.
Baby
Baby steps.
steps.
Just take it one thing at a time. Looking at your Christmas
Absolutely.
decorations, you want your decorations down by a certain date. Then
Mhm.
decide, where are you going to start? Well, I'll do the kitchen decorations first, and then
Mhm.
I'll start in the dining room or in the living room or whatever. But just take your time, take baby steps, and don't overwhelm yourself because if you do, then you'll be too exhausted to do the other things that you need to do to manage your home.
That is so true. That's so true. Now, we're going to stop for just a minute because for those of you who may be tuning in about now, we are the Modern Home Economist. I'm Leona Dooley. We have Ms Denise Jordan. We are the co host of our show, and we're so happy to have all of you. But also keep in mind that each of us have individual channels. I
Mhm.
am Ebony Ivy Thyme. Ms Denise is Homemaking with Denise. So, for those of you who are new, I hope that you will certainly take the time to, first of all, give the show a like,
Mhm.
share the show with someone else, as well as please subscribe to both of our channels
Yeah.
because that's important and that keeps us going. Now, I noticed, Miss Denise, that we have some folks. We got RC who's with us. Now, RC, you're going to have to tell us what your name is because I like that it's so condensed, but you'll have to share with us because we like knowing who everybody is. So, RC, let us know what your name is so we can call you by name. But RC said that after years of cooking rice in a pot, that now they're using a microwave and making half of that he or she usually does. So it makes 1.5 cups and is perfect for them for a few days. That's fantastic and
Mhm.
something to keep in mind. Hazel said that she's having lentil soup from her freezer tonight. All right, Hazel. Woohoo! Miss Denise shared she's got shepherd's pie. She's got a sweet potato chili. I've never made a sweet potato chili. I
Good.
have to
It's
check
very
that
good.
out. Is it good?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. Nitty T said that she's got red beans and rice in the freezer. And I've got greens in the freezer, fresh greens that are ready to go, as well as some lentil soup. Um, Tutu said she has chili and chicken pot pie fixing, so she just has to add the crust and bake.
I like it.
I do too. I do too. Debbie's Kitchen is sharing with us that she's trying not to buy any vegetables or meat until she uses up what she has in her freezer and pantry. And then she's going to clean her freezer and the fridge.
Now I'm wondering, so is she going to use all of the vegetables and the meat in her freezer and then like start over from scratch?
I
Debbie,
hope
let us
not.
know.
I hope not. But I understand that I'm thinking maybe she'll want to at least whatever has been in the freezer, maybe for a while. That's
Yeah.
what she wants to do. Because I've been doing a little bit of that myself.
Yeah, well, that's what I did too when I worked on my freezer.
Hmm Delightfully his. I love that. She
Yeah.
has pulled pork, baked beans in the same container. They're labeled. She's got ground turkey lasagna, woohoo,
Yeah.
spaghetti sauce with ground beef. See, all
Like
of
it.
those are meal makers. I love it.
Mhm.
And that spaghetti sauce with ground beef, you can use it not only just for spaghetti, but also you can make a soup.
Yes.
And so that gives you certainly some options to be able to do that. Now, delightfully his is Roshonda.
Hi,
Oh, I
Roshonda.
love that. Hi, Roshonda. We're glad to have you with us. And we've got Michelle Hilliard, who's with us, Hodge, and from North Carolina.
Mhm.
Hello, we're glad to have you with us. Jump right in. The
Mhm.
conversation is always busy here. Debbie said she's got to check out that sweet potato chili as
It's
well.
really pretty good.
Yeah, look who's here. Got Bathsheba
Ashley,
who's with
hello.
us.
Welcome back.
Glad you're here. She said she plans on making beef stew and then pressure can it to make it shelf stable. Oh, that's a great idea. A great idea.
That's really a great idea. And
Mhm,
Cassandra, becoming a farm girl, is always pressure canning soups and stews and things like that.
mhm.
That's my next goal, is to learn how to pressure can.
I know. That sounds great. I love it. Sierra said that she says she only thinks to do freezer meals when she she has a new baby, but she's going to be working on making double of the current dinner and moving forward. That's a great idea,
It is.
and then that way you aren't really having to take a day and just do anything but freezer meals,
Mhm.
even though and I certainly understand when you have a new baby coming, you want to be able to build up as much as possible, but it's nice to have some of those meals ready to go. um Debbie said, oh, when she gets low, then she'll replenish it. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. We just want to make sure we weren't thinking something else. Okay, guys. Now we talked about our baby steps with our pantry challenge.
Mhm.
And this is my suggestion, is that first of all, and I did this myself, I had thought, if depending upon your schedule, if you have a very busy schedule, you may want to take one shelf per week. And then that way you're not overstressed. There's only one shelf that you're working on. You can certainly accomplish that within a week and go and
Mhm.
look at that shelf.
And look at your accomplishment and feel good about it, and then inspired to go on to
Yes,
the next one.
yes. Now, let me just say, don't do what I did. I got the first shelf done. I was so excited with how it looked. It looked so nice. And I'll have to show this. I have shared the secret of what I did. And on the last Saturday's video. And just by making that one change, I it was a world of difference for my pantry. And so be sure, and I've linked it down in the description box, so you can go back if you haven't checked out last Saturday's video, but of where I'm working on the pantry using my baby steps. But instead of doing it over the month, and mainly because I wanted to get it finished for you all, I did one shelf per day. And that's because I'm home. I'm able to do that. And so it worked out great. Now,
Mhm.
I got excited. I got the first shelf done and went, oh, it just looks so good. And before I knew it, I started taking the stuff off the second shelf. And I turned around and I think I had talked to Ms Denise that day and I said, oh my gosh.
He sent me a picture and said, I'm doing an inventory and organizing my pantry. And I was like, whoa.
It was a mess.
I'm not saying it was a mess, but
Yes, it
things
was.
were
Tell
all
the
over
truth.
the table. And I'm like, this is overwhelming just to have so many things out all at once, because then you see all of that and it just takes your mind in circles.
And it did, because I was so focused on what was before me. I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on behind and looking at the table and the counter. And when I really stopped and turned around, it was like, what have I done? And even my husband came through and he said, "Oh, you got the first shelf finished." He said, "It really looks good." And he said, what happened?
Hey, let me just say real quick, I'm not trying to be rude, but
Uh-huh.
we're expecting a baby. And so that's why I keep checking my phone, because my niece went into the hospital yesterday. They're inducing labor. And so they
Oh,
started yesterday, and they started her on a pit drip
mhm.
earlier today. So every time I hear big, I'm like, oh, is it the baby here yet or whatever? So that's what I'm doing.
Oh,
That's what I'm checking for.
oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to
Yeah.
be fun. So keep these things in mind. So to begin with, you can start the top or start the bottom. That choice is yours. But you want to be able to inventory each of your shelves. So whatever shelf you're working on, start there and make sure you take everything, I'm telling you, everything off that shelf.
Out.
And then you're going to pull it out. You want to give the shelf a good cleanup. You want to make sure that if there's any, check all the dates. If there's anything that's expired, the garbage men hated me last week. I know they hated me when they came. But anyway, I had some things that had to go into the trash. And then sort it by categories, which was exactly what I did. But I will share, I looked at the containers that I was using, and as much as I really liked the containers, and they've worked, they're great containers, they were too big, and they were fat, and
Mhm.
so because of that, they took up a lot of space.
Yes.
Well, Miss Denise, I went and I started shopping and I was looking at your Rubbermaid Brilliance.
Oh,
Girl, I am sold on Rubbermaid
I
Brilliance.
love them.
Oh, let me tell you, they made a difference because they're slim. They hold the same amount,
They got all different
but
shapes and
just
sizes.
just take up less space.
Or
So
they take up vertical space.
exactly. So I was able to put like say flour. I had a couple of several extra bags because we try to make sure that we have additional things. So I was able to put extra bags in the back
Mhm.
and put the main bag. I emptied a whole bag into one of the containers, and so I actually have 3 5-pound bags of that's able to
Mhm.
be on the shelf. Did the same with sugar, brown sugar, all of those. But now here's the thing. Make sure that when you're putting your containers together, please have plans for labels.
Yes.
And so I had gone to my, of course, trusty computer, made the labels. So as I was doing it, I could label them immediately. And
We have a sticker maker.
I do, I do. But the funny thing is, of course, the big guy's always saying, "I can't believe Amazon's here again." But the other day he was watching on television some crazy program, and he said, "Leona, come here, you've got to have this." And it's the cutest little label maker that you use with your phone, and it prints out everything. You've got a little app, and you just bam,
Oh,
that label is together. So it's in my Amazon storefront because I'm sold on that, and it puts that label together. And I thought, oh, I like that, because that other one you kind of got to turn and turn to make sure you get it
mhm.
off. Well, nope, not with this. So but do make sure that is labeled. And I only say that because of the fact that over Christmas, my son's mother-in-law and I were cooking dinner one night, and we were frying chicken. So we had gone in and we had gotten what we thought was flour, and we took it out. We had seasoned it up, and we were frying the chicken. Guess what it was?
Cornmeal.
No, powdered sugar.
Powdered sugar. How did it taste?
So we ended up with sweet fried chicken.
Wow.
It did. It was. It looked pretty. but it was sweet, it was sweet. And we discovered it about halfway through all the chicken. And so the other half of the chicken was regular fried chicken, where the first part was a
That
little
is too
sweet.
funny.
But that just, it was a lesson learned. Be sure to make sure that there is some kind of label on those containers.
Mhm.
So it happens. When you're getting to your spices, make sure that you check for duplicates so
I
that you
have 3 cans of pumpkin spice.
well, now, do you have a container that's large enough that you can put it all in one?
I probably do.
See,
I
that
probably
eliminates
And that's
space.
one of the things that I did when I did my pantry inventory.
hmm
I like those little small spice jars by
hmm
McCormick. So I was using quite a bit of those. And
hmm
then those other small jars that the Better Than Base
hmm
comes in,
Better than bouillon.
Better Than Bouillon.
hmm
But what I realized with all these little jars in there, they were taking up a lot of room. So I just went
hmm
in and combined some things from
hmm
smaller jars into larger jars. So I didn't have so
hmm
many in there. But yeah, but that's a good idea for the pumpkin spice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went through the spices because I had spices that were in here on that second shelf.
Mhm.
And only to realize that I had a jar here, a jar here, a jar here. They were all labeled, but they were all over the place. And so when both of us are going in and out of the, we've talked about this.
Mhm.
The pantry has to work for both of us.
Yes.
And so I was trying to make sure that I was putting things in such a way that I would be happy with using it and that he was going to be happy with using it because he does cook occasionally. And so keep this in mind. Those things that you bring to the front, make them those items that you are going to use all the time, particularly. So I call them the front row top 10.
I like
Whatever,
that.
yeah, whatever it's going to be so that you can see it. Like for me, I have one of our what's the name of our tomato sauce that our pasta sauce that we like in the
Classical.
yes, Classico. So I have a Classico jar, 2 jars full of house seasoning, my house seasoning. And so I have those labeled. That's one of the top 10 that's always going to be
Mhm.
handy that I can get to. Salt, pepper, garlic powder,
Mhm.
onion powder, all those things. You want those top 10 items handy. Um,
Let
if
me
you,
just jump in on that
mhm,
point right there.
mhm,
I had to do that for my husband because when he uses his fish breading, he could
mhm,
never find it. He was always looking for it in the pantry, playing search and sees.
mhm,
And then when he gets it all mixed up, it's kind of a yellow color. So it looks a little bit like yellow cornmeal. And so what I finally decided I had to do was get a container that was clear,
mhm,
nice and big, that he could put the fish breading in that. And I put it on the middle shelf, like right between all the other um, pantry containers, and none of the rest of them were yellow, so that he could see, okay, this is a fish breading. He
mhm.
has been known to draw a fish on the container. Now, I would prefer he not do that. Like, look, but so with this one right now, there's no fish drawn on it, but he can find it easily.
Yeah.
And for the refill for the container, I'll
Mhm,
show him where I keep it. He doesn't
mhm,
remember it. But when I see him getting ready to, like when the container's getting low,
mhm,
bring him out and I'll help him put the refill in there,
mhm.
shake it up, and then it goes back in the same place because I figured if he can't find it and I have to come and get it for him, it's not working.
That's true. That's true. So if you're like me, I had half bags of beans where I had maybe cooked half of it.
Mhm.
I had a half bag of black beans, half bag of white beans, half bags of pinto beans, that I had combined and put in the cabinet. And somehow or another they got lost back in the back. And
Oh.
so in the process, and that's another reason why you want to take everything out so you can really see what's there. So what I ended up doing was I had some bags that were in there that I hadn't opened yet. So I just got a large mason jar, put all the beans together, and that of each particular variety, labeled them so that
Mhm.
they're easy to see, and I know exactly where they are. But I also this is something that I found was helpful for me, and for those who may have husbands who tend not to sometimes be able to find their items, that put their things at eye
Mhm.
level, front center, so that they can find it. And then
Mhm.
they may not get like hubby likes these little snacks. So I corralled all of his little snacks in a basket. It is front and center, right in the middle. Can't miss it. And
Mhm.
I know that's where you go. It's just right there for him to be able to get into. And so that's something to keep in mind as well.
And I
So
think it's important too, Leona, because they're not in and out of the pantry like we are. So
mhm,
whereas we know where everything is, they only come in there occasionally.
that's
And
true.
even if they come in there once a week to make their own dinner or lunch, it's still not as often as we are. And we have been known to move things around from time to time.
That's true. That's true. Uh, I'm looking here. First of all, you got to congrats on the new baby that's
Not here
coming.
yet.
Not yet. Not
Yeah,
yet.
not here yet, but it's coming.
But and Debbie said that she uses large mason jars to store her flour, sugar, and all those. She says she's starting to get rid of plastic containers a couple of years ago. Um, Laurie said she needs to condense her spices for sure.
Mhm.
JC said that she also, JC, girl or boy, let me know. I also use different sizes of mason jars and I love them. I do
I do
too.
too.
I love my mason jars. And JC said that one day she opened the cabinet and her 6-year-old grandchild said, "Oh, now we know, lady. Oh, grandma, I love your jars." She said she thinks she's hooked. And so, and that's a good thing because that will stay with her. And,
Yes.
the nice thing is that, especially ball jars, they're collectibles.
Yes.
You can keep them. It's like a cast iron skillet. You keep them forever. And I know my granddaughter's always saying, "Don't throw those away. Keep those for us." So I know I've got takers on those. And that's so sweet. And Lisa said her UPS driver asked if we had stock in Amazon. I know, but I should because we use them. Now, so here's our challenge with the pantry. We're laughing about that pantry and trying to get it straight, but be sure to use what you have. Make sure that you replace only your essentials, which would be like milk, your eggs, or you might have some fresh produce that you may need to pick up. Now, I challenge you to have at least one pantry meal per day where you're strictly using your pantry. I challenge you to try to put together one freezer meal. And that can be either if you just want to put things in a bag and put it in the freezer, or you will prepare a meal, and portion is of half of it's for dinner, the other half goes into the freezer. Either way, and just kind of track things down, jot it down somewhere. So when we come back, we're going to ask you next week, how's the challenge going? And so you're going to want to be able to do that. Now, we have a meal planning system that we'd like for you to think about. That's one of those things that, to be honest with you, quite a few of our young homemakers are asking questions about just a simple plan. Now, I love the budget meal formula,
Hmm.
but there are some other ways to do it. So let's think about this. One is called the 3-3-3, and it's a simple plan, and it's for those weeks where you're really overwhelmed. So you want to be able to pick and write down 3 dinners that you can just come up with off the top of your head, and that you have those things that are in your pantry. 3 lunches
Hmm.
and 3 breakfasts. Now, how extensive they get, that part's up to you. Now, and you can repeat those, whatever that breakfast is, you might be able to repeat that through the week, as well as the lunches. And you may even decide to repeat the dinner, or you can reinvent it, use it, and do something else with it.
Round two.
Example, you might fix a night of chili. Then later on in the week, bring it back and call it a chili rice bowl or something like that. Or you may have something else that you may like to do with your chili. You may have a baked chicken that you can have baked chicken and vegetables. Take that baked chicken and vegetables, make a chicken pot pie, or have a chicken and vegetable soup later in the week. So you've reinvented that round. You made that round two and gone on to round three. You might have a pasta bar night, and you've got all these nice little things that they can use in their pasta. Well, all of those items can be reused later in the week. So this is a great 3-3-3 plan of being able to put together your week. You won't be overwhelmed. If you've got 3 basketball games in one week and somebody's cheering and somebody's dancing and everybody's going in all the different directions, this is the perfect, simple 3-3-3 plan to be able to bring it all together. Now, Ms. Denise is a master of the next idea, and that's the theme night. Tell us about that, Ms. Denise.
One of the things that I've found is that when you have a theme for various nights of the week, it relieves some of the decision making. It adds a little bit of fun into it, but it also just kind of helps you to plan, and it helps you plan either what you're going to do with your main dishes or what you're going to do with your leftovers or your round 2s or 3s or something like that. So one of the things that we do is Taco Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And my youngest son was like, when did Taco Tuesday become a thing? Because it wasn't a thing when we were growing up. It has become a thing for me and the hubby. But one of the other things that we will do when I'm trying to either cut back on budget or trying to cut back on meat, we will do a meatless Monday. Mm-hmm. So meatless Monday, you could do mac and cheese, or you could do beans and rice, or mushrooms, or something that's high in protein but doesn't have any animal meat in it. So meatless Monday. And it saves money, and it's a good light start to the week, meatless Monday. Something else, like I said, Taco Tuesday, which is probably my favorite, because not only is Taco Tuesday flexible, you can do taco rice bowls, you can do burrito rice bowls, you can do tacos on the taco shells, you can make enchiladas, but it's a Mexican themed kind of thing. And so you can do that. And it's also, most kids, most families know about tacos. So Taco Tuesday is a fun one to do. There's even a song that I used to put on my videos when I would upload a Taco Tuesday video. That was a lot of fun. Then there's the middle of the week that can be Soup and Sandwich Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And it's comforting, it's somewhat steady, or it doesn't have to be soup and sandwich, but it's just nice to have something that's kind of low lift in the middle of the week. Mm-hmm. And then Thursdays can be a Throwback Thursday, where you have leftovers. And when you have leftovers from earlier in the week, or could even be some leftovers from last week, but Throwback Thursday, we think about Throwback Thursday with pictures, but you can also do Throwback Thursday with meals and your leftovers. And then Fridays can be like Freezer Friday, or Fun Friday. But the Freezer Friday, the nice thing about that is that it's easy. Mm-hmm. Any decisions other than open the freezer and see what you have in there that you've probably set aside from earlier in the week. Mm-hmm. And then Saturdays were always a fun time for us. It's like it's the end of the week, you want to relax. So sometimes we might eat out. Sometimes I might do chili, but I like to keep things simple on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Simple Saturdays. And then simple Saturdays, you can choose how simple you want it to be. Mm-hmm. It could be as simple as it's pizza tonight, or as simple as I'm going to pull out another freezer meal, or we're going to have breakfast for dinner, or maybe that simple Saturday is going to be we're going to eat out. But it's like you get to choose. You're not locked in, but you get to choose how you want it to be. And it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't assign Sunday anything because, Sunday is Sunday dinner and
Mm-hmm.
you have time to relax and you might choose to be a little bit more elaborate. You
Mm-hmm.
might choose to make dessert or something extra because you got time on Sunday. Whereas the rest of the week, you may or may not have that time to do that. So that's why themed meals are so nice. And the other thing is the kids get to look forward to it too. Kind of figure out, well, what are we going to have tonight? So even though they know it's Taco Tuesday, are we having tacos on the shell? Are we having burritos? Are we having rice bowls? What are we having?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, my kids loved when I would start pulling out some of the things that were in the freezer because then I am not a short order cook.
No.
Normally I fix the meal and that's what we eat. But on that particular night, there was always at least three or four things that they could select from. You get to
Mm-hmm.
have your favorite leftover macaroni. You get to have your favorite of whatever it is, and everybody got their favorite that particular night. So they loved that night
Mm-hmm.
of being able to put all that together. But the nice thing is you didn't have to shop.
No.
And for that particular thing, you didn't have to cook. All you had to do was just warm it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and plus, too, the kids are part of setting up that weekly night of being able to
Yes.
set up those theme nights, and they enjoy that so much. Now, I'm going to go over here because we've got a lot of chatting that's going
Oh,
on
do we?
here. And we're going to go. Let's see. We've got Michelle. She says she loves all of our plans and suggestions. She says she's learned so much by watching us both. She said now she thinks more about shopping her freezer and pantry rather than running to the store. Woo!
Oh, that's what we want. That's
That's
exactly
it.
what we want.
That absolutely. Bathsheba said that tonight she made chicken breast, rice, and sauteed red cabbage. She said she'll definitely have cabbage left over, so she'll reheat it with a fresh pot of rice. And she said it makes a nice meal on its own.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Also, she said, speaking of red cabbage, she has to ask for organic cabbage in her food delivery. And the picture of the cabbage on the app was green. Well, when she saw red cabbage, she had to research recipes. And so she said, it wasn't so bad. It wasn't so bad. So switching over, I certainly understand. And,
Yes.
that kind of goes back to when we were talking to Nina last week when we were talking about the grocery deliveries.
Yes.
And Nina was a little concerned about whether she was going to get what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, we have to train our shoppers who are shopping for us so that they know exactly what it is. Heather likes the color of the sweater. Thank you so much, Heather. I appreciate that. Bathsheba said she seasoned it with barbecue seasoning, a little brown sugar, and some splashes of apple cider vinegar. And she said it is really pretty good. That sounds good.
It
I
does.
think I like that. Um, JC said when her kids were younger, they liked when she put the weekly menu on the fridge door. And she said she thinks most families have 10 to 15-minute meals on repeat with a few new ones occasionally thrown in. Plus her kids help too. You're absolutely right. And they do enjoy that.
Well, the other thing too, Leona, back to JC's comment
Mhm,
was that if you don't have your 10 meals on repeat, we
mhm,
are encouraging you to figure those out. And you can
mhm,
start with 7. So for you young moms out there or people who are new to the system, start with 7 meals that you can have on repeat and
mhm.
stretch it to 10 and then stretch it to 12 and then stretch it to 14, because if you can have meals that you can have on repeat, then you can set up an order, set up a plan, and reduce the amount of decisions you have to make, how much shopping you have to do, and it's just easier. You can just like,
Mhm. It's something you won't even have to think about. You'll be
mhm.
able to just put your grocery list together and it's done. Um,
Mhm.
TJ said the theme night definitely has taken some of the stress away when she's planning her meals.
Good.
That's a good thing. That's a
Mhm.
good thing. Now, Delightfully His said that we're on
Was it Sharonda?
Roshanda. Roshanda.
Roshanda.
Uh-huh. She said we're on day 3 of soup and sourdough bread. Oh, yum, yum. She
Mhm.
said she added a salad tonight because the soup was running low.
Okay.
Absolutely. And depending on the soup, it may be that you can just very easily add a little more vegetable in, or maybe a little more broth. I know
Tomatoes.
some tomatoes today at the soup kitchen the kitchen where we were working. Um, they had vegetable soup today, and we had quite a few people that showed.
Oh,
And so within the first half an hour, the soup was starting to get low. So I mean, the cans came out and bloom, 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 and had time to warm up, and we had a fresh batch of soup ready to go. But that's something you can certainly extend. So that's nice that you have enough to be the starter and go
and
from there.
at those soup kitchens, like, and we say soup kitchen, but they're usually churches
Hmm.
or places where kind people have put together
Hmm.
to give soup. The people always want soup. That's one of the
Absolutely.
biggest things they're looking for is soup, such
Hmm.
a comfort food.
Hmm. And it was
Really,
chilly.
you're doing a good work to do that.
Oh yeah, it was a little cold today,
Mhm.
and one little fella said, he said thank you so much, and he waited to see if there were going to, if we had enough to serve seconds, and bless his heart, and he said it's so cold, and he said this is just so nice and hot, and so it was nice to be able to just see the smiles on their face, as
Mhm.
you're serving it. uh, Nitty T said that she needs some new recipes on her rotation. And so she's been trying meals from her collection of cookbooks. That's a great
Good
thing.
idea.
you know
Mhm.
each week, I like to try something new, at least one meal every
Mhm.
day, every week, to do something that's totally different that I wouldn't normally do. And I won't say that's necessarily great on the budget, but I try to find a new meal that I can work within what I
Mhm.
have here.
Well,
And
I've
so,
been doing what you do, which make a soup every week. I didn't do that before, but
mhm,
I thought that's a good idea. So, in case you guys wonder what I'm talking about, Miss Leona says that she makes a pot of soup every week, and then whatever pot that is, it's going to be the soup of the week. And
mhm,
it's nice to be able to just pull it out for lunch.
mhm,
And if you decide, you know what, we're gonna have soup for dinner tonight because I'm busy, you can bring the soup out and make some muffins or something with it. But that
mhm.
soup of the week was such a good idea. And I just started doing that in like the past few months after you talked about it. So thank you for that inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you. JC said that she totally agrees with you. Plus, you can buy items when they're on sale, and not just buying whenever you get the
Mhm,
taste for something. That's absolutely right. And
mhm,
once you kind of see, depending upon the ages of the children that you have, you know what they like, and
mhm.
you can start to just make sure that you have those items in your kitchen. Debbie said soup is good to warm up the bones. Absolutely.
Yes.
Look who's here. We got Patience with us. Hello,
Hey.
Patience. And she says she's been watching all this time, and it just clicked to have a list of 7 meals and rotate them. She said that she's been married for 5.5 years, and that's her homework for the week. All right, all right.
All right. We like it. We like it.
Absolutely. Patience, I'm telling you, I think for the first 15 years of my life, my mom had her 7 meals that she made. Now, she knew other things, but she had those go-to 7 meals for dinner, and she didn't have to think about it. Grocery shopping was easy. And so it was so nice to be able to not to even think about it. So that's how I started out. Bathsheba said that Pinterest has become her new best friend when it comes to finding recipes. Yes, they do have quite a few recipes on Pinterest. Absolutely. And uh, let's see, Delightfully said That's a good idea. She needs to have some frozen protein that she can pop out and defrost. She says she's in Florida, but she says it's a little cold, but we're getting down into the 30s and 40s over the weekend. So,
Oh, boo-hoo.
oh, poor baby.
I'm in Indiana. When it's cold here, it's like below 30. We might get down to 0.
So, but we're sorry because we know
We're
that
sorry.
you are not used to that weather, and we certainly
And I'm just
understand.
teasing you.
Yeah, we're messing with you, but the reality of it is that we are certainly fortunate, at this point where we can pretty much, go into the grocery. We can start to look at what's available
Yes.
and work from there. And if you have a freezer, certainly get that freezer organized so that you can get plenty of like frozen vegetables. Because keep in mind, those frozen vegetables are almost, and in some cases, fresher than the fresh vegetables that are in the vegetable bins, because those vegetables are coming from the warehouse, whereas the frozen vegetables are flash froze immediately from the time they are taken off the whatever the stalks or whatever it is, depending upon what the particular vegetable is. So keep that certainly in mind. Keep a supply of frozen vegetables. So, Ms. Denise, to be honest with you, we did have one more thing that we're going to talk about, but I'm going to hold that until our next week.
Okay.
We had one thing that we were talking, just pantry to plate, but I think we've hit enough of that. We've had talked about a lot of things tonight. And so I think if I throw one more thing out there, my head's going to be, spinning as well. But, this has been so much fun.
It has.
To be able to share. And now, guys, this is our mantra. Pantry first. Pantry first. That's where you're going to start. When you start even thinking about your weekly meal plan thing, pantry first. And know that the pantry is not just your regular pantry that you go into, that it includes your refrigerator and your freezers. And if you have an extended pantry, it includes that as well, which is called the Four Corners Pantry. So be sure that you shop your pantries. Make sure that you are looking at the dates as you're going through those pantries. Use your baby steps on your pantry as you're working through it and getting it organized so that it is more usable to you. And this has been a wonderful night, and I'm so glad that all of you have been here with us. Got any questions out there that you'd like for us to answer real quick before we allow everyone to enjoy the rest of their evening? Looks like I don't see any right now, but if you do, we'll come back to that. It's been a good night, and if you're thinking, I sure do have a lot of things that I need to fix, then understand this. You don't have to fix everything tonight. You don't even have to fix everything tomorrow.
Baby steps.
We're using baby steps. We do not want to overwhelm you, and we want you to have a successful week where you can smile at the end of the week and say, okay, I did this week. I got it done. And so that is the fun part of being able to find success. Now, one more thing. I have that budget meal formula that I've fixed for you, and you can get this in my Etsy shop. It is down below in the description box so that you will have this, and you can just put it on your refrigerator or wherever you keep your recipes, and you will have it. It has the plan. It has the ideas for things that you can do, as well as some stress-free homemaker rules of things that you'll want to make sure that you include and start doing. So I think you'll enjoy it. And keep in mind that the entertainment guide is there as well, so that you can use that, because we entertain every night. Entertaining doesn't have to be fancy. It can be as simple as sitting down with your family. So,
Mhm.
Ms. Denise, what are you doing this week?
You know, I think this week, one of the things I'm going to continue to do is work on my pantry um, selection because I'm eating a little differently for the next week or so. So I
Mhm.
need to change up how I'm planning the meals. And it's been interesting and it's been fun. My husband's like, well, you've been pretty creative. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next.
All
So
right.
that's partly what I plan on doing is continue to work on my pantry meal. And my pantry challenge is that I can only go to the store for perishables.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like carrots, celery, onions,
Mm-hmm.
milk or something like that. I can only go for that kind of thing. But I'm reminding myself, well, you got a can of dehydrated carrots on your shelf. Let's
Mm-hmm.
try using that off of your pantry. Okay, you got some dehydrated celery. How does that work in soup? So I'm really trying to look at my pantry first
Mm-hmm.
and come up with some meals from there and then kind of go forward. And one of the things I wanted to ask our viewers is
Mm-hmm.
if you were going to choose a theme night, what night do you think your family would choose first? What do you think would be their favorite thing? Inquiring minds want to know.
We want to know. And
Mhm.
let us know in the chat. And for those of you who are watching by way of you're just catching it later, then certainly let us know what your thoughts are and
Mhm.
what's going to be your fun part of your special weeknight. Um, I see that we have a few that they are doing. Let's see if I can get her in. Okay, she said they're doing that this month. Sky is with us, and she's got her fridge, freezer, pantry purge this month. This is January,
Yes.
and so only trips to the store for produce and dairy and etc. We
Mhm.
got a Taco Tuesday, yay! And we've got her family likes briny as a breakfast for dinner. I like that. I
Mhm.
like
Ritter.
that. All right, so we are enjoying those. We are in South Texas, so Taco Tuesdays a given. Uh, Pollard said that Indian is fun.
Oh
I guess she
yeah,
likes
good
Indian
curry.
food. Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. So being able to add a variety to your menu always adds a little spice of life to the week. So I hope that all of you are certainly enjoying this. Tutu said bye for this week. She said she has to make more mac and cheese too to please the crowd.
I
And
get it.
so I certainly understand that. So to all of you, remember your kitchen doesn't have to be perfect and you don't have to have a perfect month. You
Mm-mm.
just need a plan that you can repeat. So we love you all.
Mhm.
We hope that you have a wonderful rest of the week. We're looking forward to next week. We've got some big plans for next week. And you think this week was full of lots of information. Woo! Next week is going to blow your socks off. So, Miss Denise, I have certainly enjoyed being here with you tonight.
I have as
Uh,
well.
this has been a great time. So, to all of you, have a wonderful evening and we will see you soon. And I'm sure Miss Denise is going to let you know later what that baby comes out to be.
Yes, I kept
That's going to be
looking,
a
but
lot of fun. So,
I don't know
we're
yet.
we're going to say goodnight and enjoy. God bless you all. Good night.
Good night.